Hello and welcome to another punter's guide on a cracking weekend of racing to look forward to. Delighted to say that Tom Lee has joined us to preview some of the highlights of this Saturday's cards. And Tom, well, the weather's taken a turn. It's wet, it's cold, it's windy. The winter game is finally here.
Just the way we like it, Matt Hulmes, isn't it? Thank goodness. We waited all those months, but the proper stuff is upon us and then some. You look at, for example, the warm-up card at Newbury on Friday. Some really, really fascinating action there. And there's this urban myth, isn't there, that small fields can't be exciting. But I think we've seen a couple of times recently at Cheltenham and indeed on Friday at Newbury that small fields can be absolutely captivating, but no such problems for the Hennessy because the big one at Newbury on Saturday attracting 21 runners. Wowee, that's going to take some solving.
It certainly is. Well, that's our job. That's what we're going to try and do. We're going to try and solve it. Look, only three horses have won multiple run-ins of this, and they are immortal greats: Mandarin, Arkle, Denman. Cloth Cap tries to join them. He's £18 higher this year, but as I mentioned, Denman, the tank, has won it twice. Could we have the machine winning this time round?
Would be lovely. That's my sister's horse, The Machine, who was second in the Reynoldstown at Ascot behind Remastered, who also goes here. Ideally, Matt, I think if you wanted to sum up his chance, you'd say he had a small each way chance. 10 stone 10. He's a 7-year-old. He's entitled to take his chance. He looks like the kind of horse to thrive in a big field like this with the bump and the grind of a big field handicap, but they're going to go very, very hard. He'll need luck in running, and he'd arguably like a little bit of rain, but small each way chance.
Small each way chance on him then, but the Irish have dominated the jump scene last season, and they've got the two. They're likely to head the market once again here.
Well, on the ropes, if he was trained by anybody else, I guess you could question what price would he be, because 1 from 6 over fences, and yet his best display was his most recent display, winning going away at Limerick in the Munster National. And of course, Willie Mullins will not be bringing him over just for a breath of the otherwise lovely Berkshire air. He's joined on the ferry by Ecladeria, 3 from 4 over fences, including at Wexford last time out. Of course, De Bromhead and Rachel have other chances on the card also. And then you've got the, if you will, the home challenge, the likes of Enrilo, who I love that horse. Course winner, 3rd in the Challow. He won the Whitbread, didn't he? But demoted to 3rd after a bit of an eventful finish to that race. The Tizzards, they're back in clanking good form this season. They're Fiddler on the Roof. Enjoyed watching him win the Colin Parker up at Carlisle. You mentioned Cloth Cap, 154, plays 136. Don't forget, second run since a wind operation. Of course, he went off 11-2 favourite for the Grand National. So despite the big weight, take him seriously. The likes of De Machine. But if you like him, surely you'd also have to like Remastered, who's had a little spin over hurdles just to bring him on. So I think if I could take 2 from that list and you gave me the free bets, Matt, with respect to the Irish, I do like Remastered, who's just a relentless galloper. I think the harder they go and the further they go, the more he develops into the race. And the other one, who's an absolutely fine horse, who has good, strong, solid top-level form at this track over hurdles, is Enrilo, who, as I mentioned, okay, the form book doesn't say he won the Whitbread, but to my eyes and to yours, he did.
There we are then, 2 against the field. Yeah, and Rilo, good chance for him, and Remastered as well. And so the extra places on that, so well worth having a couple of darts with those 21 runners heading to post. Yeah, just 35 minutes earlier, Tom, we've got a very small field, a smaller than usual for the Jerry Field, and a race that's produced some absolute fantastic horses. Rock on Ruby, of course, won this en route to champion hurdle success. We've got Soaring Glory, Gower Road, one more for the road, Captain Morgs, 4 of them, all last time out winners.
I think you've mentioned early in that paragraph the winner. It's the horse who won the Betfair hurdle of 133. He's rated 149 now, so he's top weight. But since then, in between times, he's been good enough. I know he was beaten a fair distance, but he was 4th in the Supreme Novice at the Cheltenham Festival. The horse I'm talking about is number 1, Soaring Glory. I thought that return at Ascot was really quite slick. And if anything, if you watch the tape back of Soaring Glory's win the last day, he was idling in front, but always doing enough. Up £6 for his troubles, but a horse who's got proven top-level form in a handicap off 149, I'm not sure that's enough to put the brakes on him. So I would be putting my faith in number 1, Soaring Glory, Matt.
Yeah, Soaring Glory, yeah, big win, of course, last spring at Newbury. Just rewind again to 1:15, Tom, the first race in front of the ITV3 cameras. Don't get caught out. ITV3 starts the coverage, then we move on to the main channel ahead of the Ladbrokes Trophy. 1:15, though, it's a Sir Peter O'Sullivan Memorial, and it's always a lovely touch in this race because JP McManus, great friends, of course, with the fantastic commentator and the voice of racing. He always has a couple of runners in here, and they always carry Sir Peter O'Sullivan silks.
That's absolutely right. Of course, a great bit of heritage being brought through there in the naming and the running, indeed. So 2 miles 6.5 for this, 0 to 145. I suppose the fly in the ointment here, if you're really trying to break this down, is Cap Course, who won this off a £3 lower mark in 2018, was 7th a year ago off 138, and yet we haven't seen the creature since. So quite how you try and crunch that together and assess his chances is very, very tricky. The one I like, and I give you a couple of reasons why. We've already talked when we mentioned the Hennessy about Remastered and about the machine and they're running at Ascot. What about the horse who was third that day, Kaluki, who's number 3 in this race? Don't forget, when he won first time out last season, where was it? Here at Newbury over today's course and distance. Not only that, he was third in a grade 2 on this card formerly as well. So Kaluki likes it here. And I think there's still plenty of improvement to come. So Cap Course, difficult to equate. Kaluki, huge respect for him.
Interesting. There's a couple of big staying chases at Newbury. There's one at Newcastle as well. We'll discuss that shortly. Before we do, of course, the feature at Newcastle, their jump season, is the Fighting Fifth. It's the biggest clash so far this season of the 2 mile hurdlers. Now, 5 of the 6 declared, with 5 of the 6 runners in this race 12 months ago. It's an incredible. Obviously, we had plenty of drama at the start. But Epatante came out and beat Sco Royale. Do you expect a similar result 12 months on, Tom?
Well, let's not forget that Epatante has now got to deal with the challenge of the 4-year-old Montmoral, who's, if Epatante is to beat him, that's doing something that nothing else has because Montmoral is a perfect 5 from 5, including his grade 1 at Aintree. You've got So Royale, who was so classy in the elite at Wincanton, but of course, he's got work to do to reverse placings formally with Epatante, who, lest we forget, in Britain alone, she's 3 times a grade 1 winner and she's won one in France in an AQPS. She won this race 12 months ago by 4.5 lengths. She won the 2020 Champion Hurdle and the 2019 Christmas Hurdle. With absolute respect to the opposition, I find it a real struggle to desert her and make a stronger case for the others.
There we are. And stick with Epatante for Tom to win this race for the second successive year. And then another big staying handicap chase as well on the card up in Newcastle. The rehearsal chase used to be run at Chepstow, of course, but it's been switched up to the northeast. And I think Sandy Thompson may hold the key here. We'll see what you think because he's got 2 worthy candidates in the Ferrymaster and Dingo Dollar. Ryan Manny rides Dingo Dollar. He can't do the weight for the Ferrymaster. That's why he'll be on Dingo Dollar. I thought they two look two of the ones to concentrate on.
Correct. The Ferrymaster. I just wonder because actually one's shorter than the other in the betting and certainly has been in the anti-post lists. The Ferrymaster, a horse lightly weighted, a course and distance winner, 1 from 1 at this track, 4th in the Scottish Grand National. And yet, I wonder because Ryan Manny to me is key in this race. Had he been given the opportunity, and I know you say the weight is a decisive factor, but would he even have chosen, even with those very good credentials, the Ferrymaster, because his mount Dingo Dollar, to my eyes, always threatened, Matt, to be borderline a superstar for Alan King. You remember 2 years ago, he was 5th in the Hennessy there at Newbury on the same day. But since joining Sandy Thompson, think about this in isolation for Dingo Dollar. He's won over course and distance. He's been 2nd in a Scottish National. Don't forget, he was sent off 7 to 1 favourite there. And actually, a couple of fences out, he looked every inch the winner. And that run at Kelso 5 weeks ago just blows away the cobwebs, if anything, and puts him absolutely cherry ripe for this. So I think in many ways, Alan King's loss could be Sandy Thompson's gain. And with the informed, confident, and very, very effective at Newcastle Mania on board, with respect to his stablemate, who we've talked about, top weight old Nutswell off 158, Glenn Forcer, fascinating on his second try for Charlie Longsdon, taking risks and I right, don't forget. I know the first mentioned is getting a bit long in the tooth, but they were 1-2 in the Sky Bet chase. With respect to all of those good horses, I think Ryan Mania is the key here. And this Dingo Dollar, both with some of his quality form for Alan King and latterly for the informed Sandy Thompson, might be not just the solution to this race, but one of the bets of the day at a good price as well each way.
Oh yeah, Dingo Dollar, one of the bets of the day, was nibbled early on as well on Friday. So is that the key? Is that what you're going to give us, or is there something else when looking for your best bet of the weekend? We've covered 5 races. There's loads more. There's jumping at Doncaster and Bangor as well. What would be the idea of a strongest bet this weekend, Tom?
Well, it's funny because you work through these and you think of the Grade 2 John Frankham novices chase. I like the look of Mr. Incredible coming over for De Bromhead and Blackmore there before they saddle Eclat de Rear in the big one at 3 o'clock. You work through them and you think Frere Bamboo will go well in the Jim Joel at Newbury. But if you only give me one dart map, I'm very, very happy to put my eggs in the Ryan Mania basket and say Dingo Dollar for this rehearsal chase. I think everything in it is in his favour. And I'm not sure, even if he could have done the weight, he would have chosen the shorter price Ferrymaster. I suspect going into this race, Mania will be very happy. If he's happy, I'm happy. So the bet of the weekend, Dingo Dollar in the 205 at Newcastle, the rehearsal chase.
There we are then, Dingo Dollar, Tom Lee's best bet of the weekend. I'm glad you mentioned Fair Bamboo as well in the 335 at Newbury. He's got a huge chance for the Red Hot Venetia Williams stable as well. Keep an eye on that one in the Lucky Last. They're getting out stakes at Newbury. Thanks to Tom to join us. Fingers crossed for Dingo Dollar, and best of luck with Dim Machine as well for him and his sister Kerry. And a fantastic and fascinating weekend of National Hunt Racing.